Temper comes from the Latin verb temperare, to moderate or keep within limits or to mix. Most of the world's people live in the temperate zone, that is, the zone where the temperature is moderate, between the hot tropics and the icy Arctic and Antarctic circles. It's less easy to see how we get temperature from this root. The word actually used to refer to the mixing of different basic elements in the body, and only slowly came to mean how hot or cold that body was. Temper, to dilute, qualify, or soften by adding something more agreeable, to moderate. A wise parent tempers discipline with love. The temper root keeps its basic meaning, to mix or to keep within limits, in the English word temper. When you temper something, you mix it with some balancing quality or substance so as to avoid anything extreme. Thus, it's often said that a judge must temper justice with mercy. Young people only gradually learn to temper their natural enthusiasms with caution. And in dealing with others, we all try to temper our honesty with sensitivity. Temperance: 1. Moderation in satisfying appetites or passions. 2. The drinking of little or no alcohol. Buddhism teaches humankind to follow the middle way, that is, temperance in all things. Since temperance means basically moderation, you might assume that, with respect to alcohol, temperance would mean moderate consumption, or social drinking. Instead, the word has usually meant the prohibition of all alcohol. To temperance leaders such as Carrie Nation, the safest form of drinking was no alcohol at all. Believing she was upholding the law, Nation began her hatchet-swinging attacks on saloons, known as hatchetations, in the 1890s. National prohibition did eventually come and go, but largely through the efforts of more temperate, that is, moderate, reformers. Intemperate, not moderate or mild, excessive, extreme. Lovers of fine wines and scotches are almost never intemperate drinkers. Since the prefix "in" generally means not, intemperate is the opposite of temperate. Someone intemperate rejects moderation in favor of excess. A religious fanatic is likely to preach with intemperate zeal, and a mean theater critic may become intemperate in her criticism of a new play, filling her review with intemperate language. And both temperate and intemperate also often refer to weather. A region with an intemperate climate isn't where all of us would choose to build a house. Distemper: 1. A highly contagious viral disease, especially of dogs. 2. A highly contagious and usually fatal viral disease, especially of cats, marked by the destruction of white blood cells. An epidemic of feline distemper had swept the country, and its cat population had plummeted. Back when doctors believed that our moods were affected by an imbalance of mysterious fluids in the body, or humors, distemper often meant moodiness, as when Shakespeare's Hamlet is asked, "What is the source of your distemper?" Today the word is used only for true physical conditions. The distemper that affects dogs, often called canine distemper, also affects foxes, wolves, mink, raccoons, and ferrets. It can be treated with medication, but is generally fatal if not treated. Distemper in cats, known as feline distemper or panleukopenia, actually isn't related to canine distemper. If caught quickly, it too can be treated. And both types can be prevented by vaccination, so all responsible pet owners get their animals vaccinated. Purg comes from the Latin verb purgere, to clean or cleanse. Almost all the English words where it shows up are closely related to those discussed below. Purge: 1. To clear of guilt or sin. 2. To free of something unwanted or considered impure. During the 1930s, Stalin purged the Soviet Communist Party of thousands of members who he suspected of disloyalty. In some cultures, a ritual bath or prayer is performed to purge guilt or evil spirits. The Minoans of ancient Crete may have used human sacrifice as a way of purging the entire community, which is fine for the community but rough on the victims. In many cultures, people periodically purge themselves physically, that is, clean out their digestive tracts, by taking strong laxatives. This used to be a popular springtime ritual, and herbal purgatives were readily available. Expurgate: to cleanse of something morally harmful or offensive, to remove objectionable parts from. In those years, high school English classes only used expurgated editions of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Expurgation has a long and questionable history. Perhaps history's most famous expurgator, or censor, was the English editor Thomas Bowdler, who in 1818 published The Family Shakespeare, an expurgated edition of Shakespeare's plays that omitted or changed any passages that, in Bowdler's opinion, couldn't decently be read aloud in a family. As a result, the term Bowdlerize is now a synonym of expurgate. Purgative: 1. Cleansing or purifying, especially from sin. 2. Causing a significant looseness of the bowels. I'm afraid my 10-year-old discovered the purgative effect of too many apples after a lazy afternoon in the orchard. Purgative can be used as a noun as well as an adjective. For centuries, doctors prescribed purgatives, that is, laxatives, for all kinds of ailments, not knowing anything better to do. Physical cleansing has always reminded people of emotional and spiritual cleansing, as expressed in the saying, "Cleanliness is next to godliness." So we may say, for example, that confession has a purgative effect on the soul. Some psychologists used to claim that expressing your anger is purgative, but in fact it may generally be no better for your emotional life than taking a laxative, and can sometimes really foul things up.